Welcome to Golden Legacy Stars, where we look back at Hollywood legends then and now. On screen, they were once icons of beauty, style, and glamour. Their faces captivated the world, their roles unforgettable. However, few know that behind the spotlight lies time and inevitable changes. Behind that glamour are untold stories of youth, fame, and the years that followed. And today, we will look back, now and then. Elizabeth Taylor was more than a Hollywood star. She was a living legend. Born in London in 1932, she rose from a child actress to one of the most iconic women in film history. Her violet eyes, timeless beauty, and powerful performances in Cleopatra and Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf made her unforgettable. But her private life often overshadowed her career. Elizabeth Taylor was married 8 times, twice to Richard Burton, and lived under relentless tabloid attention. Behind the glamour, Taylor struggled with alcoholism, prescription drug addiction, and severe health crises, including near-death experiences in the 1960s. Haunted by the tragic death of her close friend Montgomery Clift, she longed for a sense of stability she never truly found. Elizabeth Taylor died in 2011 from heart failure. She left behind a legacy that was both brilliant and chaotic, a woman who lived intensely, loved fiercely, and became immortal through both her light and her darkness. Marlon Brando was a genius of screen acting, known as much for his raw talent as for his personal chaos. Born into an abusive home in Nebraska, he carried deep emotional wounds into adulthood, wounds that would later fuel his unforgettable performances. Brando redefined cinema with A Streetcar Named Desire in 1951, and later delivered one of the greatest performances in film history as Vito Corleone in The Godfather in 1972. But by the 1960s, his career and reputation began to decline. He fathered at least 11 children, many from affairs, and his private life was marked by constant turmoil. Tragedy struck his family repeatedly, including his son's imprisonment and his daughter's suicide. In his final years, Brando struggled with obesity, isolation, and increasingly erratic behavior. Though celebrated for films like The Wild One and The Chase, his off-screen life was haunted by scandal and grief. Marlon Brando died in 2004 from respiratory failure at the age of 80, leaving behind a legacy that was both electrifying and deeply fractured. Natalie Wood was a gifted screen actress, celebrated for her beauty, emotional depth, and tragic mystique. Born in 1938 in San Francisco, she was pushed into stardom at a young age by an ambitious and controlling mother, leaving her childhood shaped by pressure and fear. She rose to fame as a teenager in Rebel Without a Cause in 1955, and later became an icon of classic Hollywood with performances in West Side Story in 1961 and Splendor in the Grass in 1961. Behind the glamour, Wood lived with deep anxiety and insecurity. Her turbulent marriage to actor Robert Wagner, along with career uncertainty and emotional strain, shadowed much of her adult life. Her story ended in mystery. In 1981, Natalie Wood drowned at the age of 43 during a boating trip off the coast of California. The circumstances surrounding her death remain unresolved, fueling decades of speculation and public fascination. Natalie Wood's life was brief but unforgettable, a legacy defined by talent, vulnerability, and enduring tragedy. Steve McQueen was the ultimate symbol of cool, an actor defined by silence, defiance, and raw masculinity. Born in 1930 in Indiana, that harsh childhood shaped his tough, guarded personality. McQueen rose to fame in the late 1950s and 1960s with iconic films like The Great Escape in 1963 and Bullet in 1968. On screen, he said little, but his presence spoke volumes. Off-screen, he clashed with studios, struggled with control and ego, and lived a reckless lifestyle marked and failed relationships. In 1979, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer. Refusing conventional treatment, he sought alternative therapies, but his condition worsened. Steve McQueen died in 1980 at the age of 50, leaving behind a legacy of rebellion, intensity, and unshakable cool. Audrey Hepburn was the symbol of elegance, but her life was shaped by hardship. Born in 1929 in Belgium, she survived hunger and fear during World War II, experiences that stayed with her forever. She became a global icon through Roman Holiday and Breakfast at Tiffany's, redefining beauty with grace and simplicity. Behind the glamour, Hepburn lived with quiet pain and fragile health. In her later years, she left Hollywood to work with UNICEF, helping children in need. Audrey Hepburn died in 1993 at the age of 63, leaving a legacy of beauty, compassion, and strength. Kirk Douglas was a symbol of raw strength and defiance, shaped by hardship, ambition, and inner conflict. Born to poor Jewish immigrants in New York, he rose from extreme poverty, forging the intense persona that defined his career. His sharp features and explosive energy made him unforgettable in films like Spartacus, 1960, and Paths of Glory, 1957, where he embodied rebellion and moral courage. Behind the powerful image were personal contradictions and the lasting impact of a stroke that challenged his identity. In later years, Douglas turned to reflection and philanthropy. He died in 2020 at 103, remembered not only as a Hollywood titan, but as a survivor whose legacy was built on resilience and dignity. Anne Bancroft was a fiercely intelligent actress, admired for her intensity, wit, and quiet defiance of Hollywood norms. Born Anna Maria Italiano in the Bronx to working-class Italian parents, she trained at the Actors Studio and rose to fame with The Miracle Worker in 1962, winning an Academy Award. She later reached iconic status with The Graduate in 1967. Despite her success, Bancroft was deeply uncomfortable with fame. She avoided red carpets, rejected glamour, and fiercely guarded her privacy. Her long marriage to comedian Mel Brooks was loving, yet intriguingly contrasted their public images. Rarely giving interviews, she chose introspection over celebrity. Anne Bancroft died in 2005 at age 73 from uterine cancer, leaving behind a legacy of powerful talent shaped by depth, restraint, and inner strength. Gregory Peck was revered as a symbol of integrity and moral strength on screen, yet his private life held quiet grief and contradiction. Born into a devout Catholic family in California, he projected calm authority and ethical conviction in an era hungry for heroes. His tall frame and restrained style made him unforgettable in films like Roman Holiday, 1953, and To Kill a Mockingbird, 1962, where Atticus Finch became a moral ideal. But behind the upright image, Peck battled depression and lifelong guilt after his son's suicide in 1975, while living with personal contradictions of his own. He remained devoted to film and humanitarian work until his death in 2003 at the age of 87, remembered not only as a noble screen legend, but as a deeply human figure shaped by sorrow as much as strength. Sean Connery embodied classic elegance with an edge of danger beneath the surface. Born into a working-class family in Edinburgh, he rose from poverty through bodybuilding and theater to become a global star. In 1962, Dr. No made him the first and most defining James Bond. Though the role brought fame, it also trapped him, leading to clashes with studios as he fought to be seen beyond 007. Connery later proved his range, winning an Oscar for The Untouchables in 1987. Off-screen, his temper and controversial remarks damaged his public image, revealing a more complex man behind a legend. He spent his final years in quiet retirement in the Bahamas and died in 2020 at age 90. Sean Connery left a legacy of power, charisma, and contradiction. Thank you for watching. Hollywood always has two sides, the glamorous beauty on screen and the little-known truths behind the camera. Hopefully, today's video has given you a new perspective on these icons. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you found it interesting, and leave the name of a star you'd like us to analyze in the next episode. Your support is the motivation for these historical stories to continue being told. Goodbye, and see you again.